gosh, it's been so long since I've done this.
A year ago.
It's last year, man.
Just go on.
Fellow humans, I'm Commander J Antrax, and the year is 2021 or 3307, depending on which way you look at it, and this is the Loose Screws podcast. There's a crowd in the room. I'm going to go down the line in the order that they appear to me in the Discord channel for some reason. Commander Chig, hello.
Good evening. How are you?
All right. I probably should have saved this for the end, but I'm not going to. Diva Looter,
hello.
For, I guess, the second time ever. Hey, with a new microphone and going to be a as regular as you want to be cast member.
Thanks, buddy.
From here out. Yeah.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Everything's all better.
All right. Commander Dubs is also here. Hello.
Hello.
Always talkative.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to pick on you.
That's sorry. I'm just trying to crack an asteroid right now. That's all.
No. Okay. Lieutenant Commander Data. Hello.
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here.
Commander Nurgle is here.
Come on, he said 3 words more than me, and he doesn't get shit.
And last but not least, NL Hate.
What's cooking? Good looking.
Don't you start on me all sweet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. Guys, we missed last week. There was a ton going on, and I ended up just having absolutely every single evening was packed with in real life stuff and couldn't escape. So it was pointed out to me that not everyone left the Discord server in protest. So I guess we still have a podcast to do. But I guess let's circle around a little bit. How did you all fare through the holidays and everything? How does everything feel in the world and reality to you? Who wants to go first?
What an open question.
Indeed.
What a loaded question.
Yeah. Hey, has anything happened in the past 24 hours? Weird.
Yeah. Well, no, but so we've been a minute. We had our very, very fun holiday stream, and the obviously the feedback from that was severe, and I had a lot of fun and everything. I had wished that we could have done some kind of a New Year's-ish podcast, but it didn't really work out. But everyone's still here. So, Chig, what have you been up to in real life and otherwise?
I don't know. It's been, time is such a mess that I don't remember. I had a couple family members show up over the New Year's week there, my niece and her new boyfriend and stuff like that. So it's a little busy. We all still have had that stupid 7 Days to Die addiction that the last Horde night we had in that game burned us all out. So we're all kind of annoyed with that game, and we're back to playing a lot more Elite.
How interesting.
But really, all that I've been doing in Elite, it's been kind of ridiculous. I've just been playing CQC, just utterly addicted. There's a lot of baby seal clubbing going on because of all the new players. But a lot of the regulars
never change.
A lot of the regulars are always around, and that one person that is always in and just murders everybody, he's been playing a whole lot lately. It's hard to find games where he doesn't show his face eventually. But that's been it for game. Now tonight I'm just working on loading up Tritium to bring my carrier on a journey. So that's it for me.
Cool. How's, let's go for the new guy. How's life treating you and your new microphone, Devo?
Well, besides catching COVID and then and then in Christmas fashion giving it to my wife, daughter, and all of my in-laws, it's been awesome.
Ugh.
Everyone's alive.
Is everyone? Okay.
I suppose I should throw that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad for me.
We don't know your sad voice yet well enough, yet, so you have to.
That would have been a lot sadder story if you said, besides my entire family dying of COVID over Christmas.
That's
that
right.
would have been.
I gave everyone the new AIDS and Merry Christmas.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm HIV positive. That's not what it's called.
Oh, God. No, life is good, man. I've not been on in some months, so and then I'm an exterminator by day, so this is the month where everyone like tips me for the year, which is a treat. So
cool.
I'm a literal bug hunter, and I made out
All right.
enough to buy audio interfaces and mics and stuff like that. So
yeah, exciting. Dubs, what's shaking besides getting frustrated with Horde Night?
Really not much. Things are basically the same for me around here. Not much different than a normal week would be.
Normal week, yeah.
Did they find more dead bodies at work?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. We'll give it another few months.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Moving on.
I don't have the security clearance to know that story. Move on.
Yeah.
Just rush right past that, I guess. I'm going to assume.
Do not engage.
Data, how was your holidays and New Year's and all that?
It went pretty well. Nice change of pace for a couple weeks. Things slow down work-wise, but get a little busier home and family-wise.
What is your job? I've never asked you this.
I work in engineering and civil
that's what
engineering.
I call dancing. I gotta go to my engineering job.
which I got into this career path because I thought I'd be driving trains. They lied to me at university. This is not the same.
Need a rim
totally
shot
different
sound effect for that.
I'm assuming you still wear the hat, though.
Oh yeah, the hat stays on.
Choo choo.
Fantastic. Anyway, yeah.
Everything went good.
Fabulous. Nurgle, I think last time things at work were wild and crazy. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm still pulling double duty, but I'm told we have interviews next week, so maybe the double duty is going to come to an end here soon, and I'm kind of ready for it.
Right on.
But so far, 21 is miles better than 20. So
yeah. That's good. Hey, what you been do? Oh, I just realized that my Discord doesn't make a sound when somebody joins the channel. Okay, hey, what's been going on?
We're getting there.
Cracking?
Just follow the list. We're getting there.
I figured you'd get to it.
How's it going? I just had to look over at my other screen.
Just like a week before like Christmas Day, the dudes in my computer shop came together and we pulled the good stuff out of the garbage. And
I have 4 questions.
I have
only
50% more logical cores in my processor and triple the RAM with which I did have. And my in-laws got me. Yeah, I went from 8 to 24.
24?
What?
24 gigabytes of RAM.
No one has 24.
You can have 24.
That's illegal. Yeah.
And,
Straight to jail.
and I also got a really nice snowball, blue snowball microphone.
Nice.
So I sound mostly the same, but it feels good,
Oh,
Maybe
it's
if you
so
had-
smooth. Though.
Maybe if you added 3 more RAM. If you went to 27 RAM, you might be better.
20
I hear you better.
RAM.
Don't tempt me. I have a
I have to write
whole
that
lot
down.
of garbage PCs at work. I can do it.
You're killing me.
27 RAM.
Can I lead the way? Can I lead the way?
Yeah, take it away,
Okay.
brother.
Yeah. Mr. Trex, how was your holidays?
Oh, it's fine, and everybody is okay here. But I've never felt as stressed out about holidays as I did this time. And I don't really know why, because, we only saw like my folks and my wife's mom, which is typical. But for some reason, I felt so like kind of overrun by all of it. And we ended up having a memorial for another somewhat distant family member that isn't COVID related or anything like that, but that is one of the things that kind of added extra. You just had to drop everything, and so that had caused a few other things to sort of like get backed up and just general work crap and things like that. And I ended up kind of working through the weekend. Actually recording jazz sax, which is kind of cool, but it does delete your whole weekend, and it does make me feel like I've been working for like 2 weeks straight, and that's odd. An odd feeling coming off of a holiday, feeling like you've been working the whole time, which is weird. So anyway, that's where I am. I'm unplugging and turning on this game, and I don't know, I'm going to try to find some rare minerals, I guess, and try this mining business. Apparently, I hear that it's wild. Apparently, it's just crazy.
All right.
That's not the word I would use.
And now for our very special guest, with which I had alluded to in the general chat earlier. Mr. Worsham, how's your holidays been?
Okay, so I just unmuted my mic, and I got the alarm that said that my mic battery was dying.
Oh, no.
Perfect.
Hold on.
I'll see you later, man.
Hold on. Let me plug it in. Okay. It's in there, and it's just like boop, boop.
So, about that weather.
This is an old mic that I'm using, and I don't use it very often. And I say I don't use it very often, but I actually use it all the damn time. But I use it just the audio side of it. I don't actually use it as an actual mic. Just good. It's a wireless headset.
It's a headset.
I freaking love it.
I see.
So we don't get a chance to talk to you forever, and we get to hear about your microphone. Awesome.
Yeah, that's how it works. So,
dude, he's dropping right back in where he left off.
There you go.
First thing is hate. I got to talk to you about your RAM, man. What is your setup on your RAM with that 24 gigs?
I have two 8 gig sticks that are 9, 9, 9, 17, and then two 4 gig sticks that are the same speed.
Okay, rip the 2.4 out. You're hurting yourself.
You don't need that. Yeah, you're gonna do all kinds of weird things to your channels.
Yep.
It hasn't done anything weird at all yet.
You
But
won't
it's not
notice
running
it.
as well as it could be.
Exactly. You will actually get better performance out of 16 than you will at 24 in that configuration. Guaranteed. Now, are you going to really be able to see it? Probably not. And the only time you would actually need just a base more memory is if you, I don't know, had like 16 Chrome tabs open with like Pornhub going, and then you were trying
he needs
to
it then.
When you just
Saturday
Oh, never mind. Leave him in.
Leave him in.
It's decided.
Get that extra 3 back to 27.
Anyway, so no, I asked I had some time tonight, so I thought, well, you know what, I'm gonna see what the guys been up to, and decided to hop in, just see what you guys been up to, and that's about all I had planned. I'm gonna play a little Elite and shoot people and try to get a little money because I'm steadily going broke because I still have a fleet carrier and have not been participating in the game. So, but don't get me wrong, I still have a year before I'm broke. So, or actually like 18 months, but still.
Right.
Anyway.
Well,
I do want to ask you guys about a couple things. So one, you guys started out a new distant screws.
Distance screws too. Yeah. In fact, we could jump right over there if I can find my alt tab and not swing too far past my note sheet.
Yeah, don't swing.
Oh, of course, I didn't even put that in the note sheet because that was just something I was going to remember. Distant Screws 2 is starting on the 12th. So Tuesday from now, it's Thursday right now, Thursday the 7th. And we're taking off on Tuesday the 12th. It's planning on leaving from Morey Port and Ross 310, and I think we're gonna do a mass jump with Jello, who is gonna be on by 9 p.m. Mountain. Is that what he said? I think.
Yes, that's what he said.
Yeah. And so that's when we're all planning to jump. The expedition, which I did feed to Bruce so that he could announce it on their stream today, which he was kind enough to do. There've been some interest from the public and some people kind of filtering in through the forum and things like that. So the idea of this is we're going to go visit Evelyn's star. This is the named neutron star that resides somewhat near Colonia. And so the expedition takes off on the 12th, and there are several waypoints along the way. We'll plan to arrive on at Evelyn's star on February 24 from memory. Someone check me, please, because I hope I didn't get it right. 26. Okay. February 26, which is the anniversary of when Evelyn was lost, and so we're going to arrive there on that day, and then as sort of a follow-on to the story that Drew Wagar wrote, kind of continue the expedition out from there. There's a large number of weeks where there are no waypoints planned on the EDSM expedition, so we can just explore and go anywhere, and then be back in the bubble in May. So it's got a little bit of a non-typical EDSM expedition, but it is still on there, and it will still earn a badge, and we're hoping for lots of good participation. I think there are, last I heard, there were several carriers planned, so we may do a little discussion, figure out which carriers don't need to come, because there's probably too many, but it plans to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
There's 78 participants signed up on EDSM so far. That's awesome.
And we need some more PlayStation people too. I'll put that out there because I think there's only a handful.
Nah, PlayStation people don't matter.
Yeah, they're stupid.
Well, I know I'm planning on bringing my carrier. I don't care who else is bringing theirs, other than I saw Dubs, because I plan on blowing up Dubs at multiple faraway places.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about the gas cost?
I'm not worried about it.
All right, big bucks.
No, somebody said it's about $500 million in tritium at
11
reasonable prices, just to do a round trip to all the checkpoints. Yeah. So
no, it's 11,000 tons just to go to Colonia and back.
Yeah.
Oh, not worried.
Who knows where you go from there?
But yeah, because we did distance screws, and some of us have done that. That was a lot of people's first big expedition, and went to Beagle Point and everything with that. So this time I've never gone in an expedition with the carrier, so I'm going to do like we had talked about when they were just talking about carriers, flying it out 500 and exploring all around it, then going another 500, exploring all around it. Just go out and do it. It should be fun.
And mining tritium the whole way.
I'm gonna fill my carrier with tritium before I go.
Gonna make an attempt. I'm going to try to see if I can maintain my tritium reserves with mining. I might give up. I might not. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't feel like this being distant mining for me, though. I want it to be actual exploring.
Are we taking bets on giving up yet? On Doug's giving up?
No bet.
We're going to take bets on someone screwing up their ship and then whining about it when someone can get there to save them in time.
No bet.
And then blaming everybody but the person responsible. We'll take bets on that.
No bet. So that anyway, that's going on with the expedition. Yeah, we haven't talked about that in a few weeks, but it has crept up on us, especially with skipping last week on the podcast. So, that's the story. What are your you think you might want to go on an expedition, Ty?
I don't know. I'm considering parking my carrier on, or not my carrier. I'm considering parking a ship on Chig's carrier. I don't park
Wow.
on Dubs.
Ultimate betrayal.
Feel that love.
Look, here's the reason why. All right. So I sometimes a little girl watches me play games, and then she says, "Hey, what are anime titties?"
You need to educate her.
So in order to avoid questions like that, I park on other ships.
The big cheese is easy to explain.
Right. You see, it's really big.
Yeah.
And what's
it's
the
cheesy.
over-under? Yeah. What's the over-under on how many weeks before me and or Crash need to be tranquilized because of being separated from the BGS?
Well, I happen to know that at least one of you has planned to be playing an epic alt the entire time to maintain BGS anyway. So
That's not me. So,
Y'all are crazy, man. I tell you what.
that's never been in doubt.
Sorry, I'm fighting an condo over here. This is what I'm doing now.
Speaking of crazy about the BGS, you should have heard the maniacal laughter Nurgle and I were doing in the LSN channel earlier. We were up to...
I can neither confirm nor deny that nefarious things were discussed.
Oh, we don't do nefarious things here. All friendly.
That seems like a good
friendly.
transition into Squadron Talk. Enlighten us, guys.
We could do that. Wait. Do you want a sound effect? Wait,
I would love a sound effect.
Yes.
Incoming priority message. Squadron briefing.
Is it not working?
All right. Was it yesterday or the day before when we secured the last asset in qama?
That would be yesterday.
Yesterday, we secured the last asset in qama, and we are no longer holding the chains back. We are free to expand as often as we can from qama until we get back from the expedition.
Which is probably often.
Which is probably yes.
I imagine traffic is going to be driving us straight up the wall.
Yes.
We've won several elections. That was one election. We won, I believe, another one. So we have 2 wars we're cooking in right now. Which, if you want to shoot stuff, we have wars to fight.
That's what I was doing.
For a change, because it's been a lot of elections lately.
Yeah, that's true.
I know I've abducted a lot of political prisoners.
Wait, I thought we were rescuing them.
Oh, yeah, that's
I'm
right.
confused.
Yeah, we're taking them out to the settlement that I founded a while back.
It's called Dubs' Slave Yard.
It's called the airlock.
I wonder if they've used all the explosives that I left them after you dropped them off.
That was the first thing they used.
Shortly after we leave for our expedition, Ross 310 is going to expand somewhere. Hopefully it goes where we're aiming, but we won't be here to do anything. We won't be here to do much.
Some people will still be here.
Nurgle, it looks like you added something there.
I did. We've got new neighbors. A squadron called Misfits of the Galaxy over in the WAN system, JUAN. Had a chance to talk with them the other day, and they're new and seem like an interesting bunch of guys.
What platform do they play on?
Mostly PC. I think they've got a couple of PS4 guys.
Excellent.
See, PS4 doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're stupid.
In addition out our new neighbors, we also have a ton of new commanders that have been joining the Discord, and I haven't seen many of us here in the crew actually welcoming them, but welcome. Willkommen. Willkommen Sie.
I see them come in, and there's always somebody who beats me to welcoming people. and I've decided that that's okay. We have a vast community of very friendly, nice people, and I think it's really great that everybody feels like they can step up and say, "Hey, welcome to this channel," because that tells me that like these people feel like they belong here, that they can turn around and welcome someone else. Sorry, I started off feeling like that was going to be a silly comment, and it got very serious and like sentimental on me in the middle of my own sentence. But I mean it. Like I hop in, I say, "Oh, look, somebody just joined," and I'm like, "Oh, hey, welcome." I start to type it, and then like 2 or 3 other people from the group have welcomed them while I was typing, and I'm like, I find myself thinking, "Oh shoot, well there it is," you know.
It's good for folks to take their own initiative because that means less work that we have to do.
There, that's the sentiment I thought I was going to launch into. There it is.
So positive.
We found it.
So positive.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Where were we? I feel like I interrupted something.
The squad update is now finished.
Okie doke.
You need to record that as a sounder that he just hits a button when he's done, and he can just direct sound every week.
Update is now finished.
Followed by a crash. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Move along. There's nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Move along.
So
Don't mind the giant purple
Star
Corvette coming out of the sky.
Star Wars reference.
Right.
What is Wars you speak of?
Something.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Oh yeah, we can move along. Move along. Move along.
Move along. Boy, Ty, do you like how I've ruined your show? This is how it usually goes these days.
I don't think you ruined it. Hell, you kept it going. I was so distraught. I was done with it. So I'm really glad it's not done. So it warmed my heart a little bit.
You just wish it was entertaining.
Are you not entertained?
I mean,
Is that from Star Wars?
That's from Star Wars. I think Ray said that.
Oh, Ray. God damn it.
See, you thought I couldn't bring you down in this moment.
I'm done.
Oh, here's a real downer. I just found a painite core.
Oh, damn.
I got better places to be.
Yeah, it was depressing enough at just pay night.
Yeah, I'm flying a cutter, so I really can't be brought any farther down.
Okay, so if I am to look back at the notes, it looks like the next thing that we have planned here is some in-game lore news and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Galnet. Gosh, all kinds of stuff has happened since we last podcasted, most of which people, I assume, know. Lakon, I can't remember when did we last podcast? Did
December
Lakon
17th?
finish? Did Lakon finish collapsing? Probably not.
No, but in the past couple of days they've been bought out. This I'm very excited for.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Because
Lakon
hopped on here, so.
All right. Well, then, I'll tell you what. Then, in that case, let me. Oh shoot! I alt tabbed wrong. The podcast audience knows how bad I am at alt tabbing. There's been Thargoid stuff going on. I'm going to do this, and then we'll get to the Lakon business. There's Thargoid stuff going on. They went nuts. They did exactly what everybody thought. They thought, ammonia worlds, what is this business? This has got to be Thargoid related. And sure enough, the Thargoids went nuts and started shooting things. Stations are on fire. There's lots of rescue missions to do. Ida is on standby, I guess. I don't know if there's anything actually to repair yet.
They are repairing stuff.
They're currently repairing stuff. AXI and onward to the other anti-Xeno groups are in full force, and things are difficult but progressing on the anti-Xeno front in both Witchhead and the Coalsack sectors. But in amongst all this, was the continued financial collapse of shipbuilder Lakon, and eventually they fired their board and gave up and agreed to be purchased by Core Dynamics. So take it away. Whoever wants to comment on this.
Okay,
Well, my comment is mostly, sorry, Ty, you're the Corvette man. Why don't you go first?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Well, mine is mostly personal because I fly almost specifically Federation ships. In fact, I had a cutter until recently. You'll hate this comment, everyone who's ever listened to this, but I sold it and bought a drop ship.
Wait, how much did you sell it for that you could only afford a drop ship?
Oh, I could afford much more than that, but I just figured, like, I don't need this ugly Imperial thing that everyone loves. I'm going to buy this ugly thing that only I will use. It turns out it is a big piece of crap. Everything the internet said about the dropship is true. It's terrible.
So you traded crap for crap? Got it.
No, I traded something really good for crap, but at least that's how I'm going to role play it. But the idea that there might be in 2 months, according to that Galnet post, maybe some new Federation ships. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for it. Because I can stop flying the dropship in my spare time.
All right. So here's the deal. Number one. So to me, this doesn't make a lot of sense from a lore point of view. So Lakon makes the Type 10. It sells pretty well because it's the primary big ship used against Thargoids, or at least lore-wise anyway. Not necessarily for real. Yeah, but lore-wise. Then they make the Chieftain, the Challenger, and the whatever the other C word was.
The C word.
Crusader.
Crusader, yeah. So they make these 3 ships, and you see these ships everywhere. How do they not have money to support themselves now? How does that make sense? Somebody please explain that to me.
They don't have military contracts, or they severely hampered ones.
But isn't it?
I believe is the true lore answer to that question.
But aren't they like associated with the Alliance in some fashion?
Right, who have extremely limited military spending compared to the Empire and the Federation.
That's true.
And the Empire and the Federation have been upping their spending like crazy lately. So this is part of that storyline in a secret way.
And even if they were doing well financially, I mean, the Federation is still going to attempt a hostile takeover to punch the Alliance in the gut. I mean, a well-off company can still be hostilely taken over by another company with much more revenue, with more money.
Right.
You fire your board members and you get the new guys to say yes, and, well, it's going to happen.
Right. Side note, aren't the Alliance ships, the Chieftain, the Crusader, and the Challenger, aren't those all open source documentation that any starport could technically just build new ships and then label them that and then sell them at regular price?
Well, that's actually
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I think we would have to do some deep digging into the lore to prove that or not, but I really feel like I had at one point heard that.
Well, what are some of the other ships that people keep going on about that, hopefully one day come with whatever expansion?
Well,
and who makes those?
Ships that aren't in the game now?
The one that always gets brought up is the Panther Clipper.
That's a meme at this point.
And is that made by a specific one of these specific companies, or might we see a new company open up?
It definitely fits the archetype that Lakon typically fills.
Mm.
It's mainly like a transport hauler, right? I think the idea was that it was like a massive ship that you would launch. It was a mothership, right? Isn't that the way it worked out? It was a mothership that you would
too big to dock. It had to be unloaded by smaller vessels.
According to lore, Zorgon Peterson manufactures the Panther Clipper.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not sure which way to tackle this. How I want to keep talking about lore, if I want to talk about like possible impacts to what's going to actually come in the game. For one thing, I've always kind of, as this has been going on, I've seen chatter about like, oh no, like my precious chieftain, and I've never felt that there was any danger that ships would be removed from the game, whether it's the stupid type 7 or the great chieftain. None of this is going away, and they definitely said exactly as much earlier today, or was it yesterday? So
perhaps the Federation is just going to make a better chieftain with a canopy that doesn't explode every time you hit the boost button.
Did your canopy explode a lot?
I feel there's a story there.
Because I made my chieftain to go out for interceptors, and I'll tell you what, those Gauss cannons warm up pretty good, and that canopy goes pretty quick.
You melt your own glass. The only time I've ever lost the canopy in my chieftain was against an interceptor.
Well, then we have something in common.
I guess that was mostly my comment. I suppose was none of these are going away, so I don't see any reason for this story to exist from a what's happening to the game perspective, unless they're going to add a new ship. I see it sort of like when a company becomes a wholly owned subsidiary of another company, they don't stop to exist, and even their branding usually stays the same, right? There's my other background. I'm coming from like music and equipment manufacturing and stuff like that. Like we were just talking about, Gibson bought Mesa Boogie. Mesa Boogie isn't going to stop existing. They're still going to make guitar amps. Right. So I'm assuming this is like that. Like Lakon is still going to exist. It's just now got the financial backing of Core Dynamics and is Core Dynamics is the beneficiary of their success.
I mean, the same story goes along with the Eagle and the Imperial Eagle, doesn't it? The fact that they still produce both, but one was, I forget the entire lore of it, but I think that's the history of it.
One of them was licensed out, and then the license was withdrawn, but they kept making it under another name.
Right.
Oh, they got all shady about it. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. It would be foolish to think that we're going to get like majorly altered versions of all these Alliance C-word ships for the
C-word
Federation.
Because I thought I already had my show title in 27 RAM, but now
the C-words. But it is reasonable to think that Odyssey comes out with a new ship, and here's the story that leads into it.
Well, are we thinking like a hybrid between the two companies? Some of their ships kind of mashed, some mashups kind of thing going on, or what?
Ooh, which two ships would you use to make a baby?
According to Kai, they just need to kiss and then they make a baby. So they take, like a federal drop ship and put some engines out on it like a chieftain. That would be one ugly
federal
child.
Chieftain? Yeah.
Just a vulture the size of a Type 9. That's all you need. You're done.
How about a Type 9 the size of a vulture?
That's not going to work. I'm thinking like Class 7 hard points. I don't know.
Okay, so let's go with this then. I have often wondered what's missing in the lineup. I feel like a medium vulture type ship, like a federal medium ship that is like a in between a vulture and a corvette, because I really don't feel like the assault ships
you don't think the assault ship fills that gap?
I think there's troubles with it. I have felt like the Vulture's awesome and the Corvette's awesome, and all the in between things. I'm talking about different manufacturers, I guess. So I'm sort of splitting things. But if you're going to fill like a spot that I think doesn't exist, there isn't something that I think honestly the Chieftain is the thing that becomes the most natural step up from a Vulture.
I suppose what you're saying is that, like, I suppose the Federation could use a mid-sized ship that isn't a hull tank. That's where they lack.
Okay, yeah, that's one way we're putting it. And I'm thinking back to long ago discussions, and probably it was Ty that suggested that we're missing an exploration dedicated large ship. Yeah, you were about to say it, weren't you?
Yeah. So we're missing a large exploration ship. We're also missing. Okay, so back up a second. So Core Dynamics at this point owns the company that makes the SRV. It also owns the company that makes the skiff, and now it's the company that owns Lakon. Is it not a stretch to think that this is how they're going to key us into some sort of like multifaceted car with all the other stuff that was been going on? You rewind the clock to back when they had the position open for someone to make AI for ground-based vehicles. When they were asked about, are we going to get more than the SRV, or are we going to get more SRVs in Odyssey? They said we're not ready to discuss that yet. Versus other stuff, they said we'll have to talk to the devs about it. Which that's almost saying yes, but we can't talk about it yet.
So, that is what,
and it's so Core Dynamics now owns the ground vehicles in the game. So it's not a stretch to think for them to say, okay, well, Lakon's going to be our public side. The other part of this is that they could also be using Lakon to make the federal ships public without having to have rank. Because they can say, well, here's a public version of the assault ship. Here's a public version of the gunship.
So this is like Imperial Eagle versus regular Eagle. They would just regular assault ship. They would take the Federal off of some of these and make different, graphically different versions or something.
Something, yeah. I mean, they could I don't know, maybe make them a bigger cockpit or something and say it's a Explorer assault ship.
Lakon cockpit. Yeah. I like that. They give it a good view, and actually, I never really minded the cockpits in the Federal ships, but nobody. They're actually pretty cool. A cockpit. Yeah.
So, I also believe that Core Dynamics also owns the company that makes some of the guns. I had to look it up. So Vodal is the company that makes the ground vehicles. The Scarab, the SRV, and the Skimmer. So, yeah, Vodal. And I had to go look it up. So they also make fighters, the F-63 Condor. Yep. And they make all three of the Skimmers, the Sentry, the Guardian, and the Goliath. There's 3 skimmers. I had to go look it up, so I'm cheating here. So, and
it does seem likely that we'll be seeing a little more of them if we're going to be spending more time on the ground. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the other part of this is that let's not forget, Core Dynamics makes the battle cruiser, the Farragut, and it's not a stretch to think for them to go, okay, we are going to make a larger fleet carrier that'll be public released. We are going to make a exploration fleet carrier, because I don't know what that looks like, but they could put that into the game to where they could put outposts further out without having to build a full-blown outpost that they can move around each week or something. This
mobile outpost?
Yeah, speculation, of course, but yeah.
Fleet carriers are already bigger than most outposts anyway, so...
Well, I mean, outpost is not necessarily the right term, but you get the idea. So,
yeah. Well, actually, if you're saying exploration fleet carrier, maybe then the trick would actually be that it's too big. Maybe it would be able to move further and faster and with less upkeep cost and less fuel cost if it was smaller.
Right. I mean, that's probably the better way to put it, but yeah.
And it would have less storage or something, or fewer features, but it would be a different thing. Yeah.
Well, who wouldn't buy one? Based on that description.
You don't think I'm selling it very well, huh?
No, I'm saying I would obviously trade in what I have for that, for lower fuel costs and higher jump ranges and all that stuff.
Okay.
But
I was kidding.
What if you couldn't sell your data at it? Or what if, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Well, if you couldn't sell your data, that would be a pretty poor exploration carrier.
Well,
right?
what if you could FSS scan from it?
Yeah.
You jump into a system and then you can do your scanning from your carrier instead of having to launch a ship to do it.
Or it had some kind of scanning benefit. Yeah, that would be pretty rad.
Where you do your exploring
limited storage
actually from your carrier. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you couldn't have a shipyard on it because it's too small.
Yeah.
So
Personal
these
only.
are some of the features that I sort of think about when I imagine this theoretical large class exploration ship. Right? It has some kind of inbuilt scanning capability or something. I mean, it can't. It could be just jump range. I guess I shouldn't say it can't be just jump range.
Are we talking about a starship or a fleet carrier here?
I'm talking about
In
a starship.
between.
I'm kind of. I mean, sure. I mean, whatever. I was kind of going back personally to the idea that
a large exploration.
Right, maybe with sort of more funding, right? Where Lakon is going to be okay, here's the new ship we're going to come out with, and it has this feature that makes it a killer explorer. It makes it this better than the Anaconda for whatever reason at exploring.
One thing that you could do is just some weird landing gear configuration where you don't need a giant flat spot in order to land it, because that's a big problem with a large ship landing.
I had never thought of that for some reason. That's brilliant.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just something along those lines. You can land, whether the ground's tilted or, it telescopes farther out so you can sit on rockier terrain, just anything like that to just make that landing easier. But why they don't have that already, I don't know.
Like a special SRV bay that can launch your SRV while hovering, like it can picking it.
We're leaning very close to Panther Clipper right now, aren't we?
All right.
Well, right before carriers were released, I remember we were all talking about this. I don't think it was on the show, but I had brought up the point then that rather than having a big carrier that does everything, I would like to see a few smaller versions like tenders that would have one or two pads and would be specialized for exploration or mining and your limited function mini tenders. So, I mean, that's always a possibility too.
Yeah. I even like that. I mean, drop ship kind of ideas come up before, but a hybrid fighter / SRV that can fly, farther distances, but they can land and do stuff on the ground and stuff. So, I don't know, just different ideas.
Yeah, that's
it's sci-fi.
Wild.
Entertain us. Give us options.
Indeed.
So sort of the other side of it besides just the practical, what could happen for ships is, again, kind of circling back to the lore aspect of it. There's also this business going on with the election in the Alliance. So the other thing that has transpired recently is apparently every 6 years, the Alliance holds an election for Prime Minister. So that's going off on schedule, and with the possibility that holy cow, I'm forgetting his name, but
Mahon?
Bob Barker.
It's Edmund Mahon.
That the possibility that Bob Barker could be ousted as Alliance Prime Minister and replaced by somebody would mean that Drew Carey could be our next power play leader. And I wonder, I would like to go around the panel now and have everybody, what is your vote for what Drew Carey's power play module will be? I think Chig should have to go first because this is his fault.
What was the villain on the Drew Carey show back in the day? Mimi. So some crazy face paint looking thing.
The villain?
Oh wait, so it's a gun. Wait, I've got it. It's a gun that can change the paint job on an enemy ship permanently.
I like it.
This is a whole new realm of ganking that you're changing people's paint.
When I think of me,
that was a paint round, you idiot.
that little demon clown guy from Spawn. The movie?
Yes. Yeah. Wasn't he just called the Clown? Was this that?
I can't find it.
Just Clown, I think.
I thought he was just called the Demon.
No, I think he was Clown. John Leguizamo played him in the movie.
On his knees.
What? It's wild. I had no idea.
I think the new power play module will be a weapon for when you're walking around on the ground.
Oh, shoot. Probably should have thought of that, huh? But we had to let hate do it.
Well, the Mimi gun can change somebody's face, put a mask over their face visor thing.
It blinds them, right?
Well, it just makes them ugly.
Can shoot through cover.
Shoot through cover. Oh, that's terrible.
The new power play module will be a special ground attack SRV.
Ooh. All right.
Carries multiple commanders.
Yeah.
It's like an APC.
Yeah.
Well, the real question is, are they going to make any changes to power players? It's still going to be this stupid wait 4 weeks to get modules bullshit.
They have said previously that they are working on a better system.
They've said that they will look at that in the future. I think.
That Odyssey was going to be out like a year ago, so I don't.
Yeah.
Did you guys see in the AMA where they said that when they asked about power play, they said that we have nothing to talk about at this time. Instead of saying we'll ask the devs or we have plans in the future, they said we have nothing to talk about at this time. So I kind of feel like there's power play changes coming in or around Odyssey, but that's just a guess. So
yeah, but that could just be adding.
You're more optimistic than I am.
I kind of agree. Like, I feel like their language has been tilting in the direction of this is something that's on the list, but they haven't looked at it yet, kind of thing. Like, they don't know what the plan is,
right.
But something is going to happen. At least the act of looking at it is happening. That's the impression I got anyway. I don't.
Agreed.
Not inside their brains.
Yeah.
Anymore. Is that did I assassinate that conversation?
Well, I don't know. My question was, with the power play is, people bitch about how these modules are already tied to a power. Are they really going to add more power play modules?
Really? People bitch about that?
I don't know.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
Not me, but yes.
Oh, it's not that big a deal, is it?
Well, if you actually play power play, it kind of is, because you have people just coming to get their modules that are fucking with your power play.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
I think, and you have modules like the shield generator, which people almost certainly go get one very quickly, and then you have like the Grov bonds that nobody gets. So.
And by the way, they should get prismatic shields.
Right. Yeah. But I think that there should be a different way to get them. I don't think they should be tied to power play. I've been saying that for as long as I've been doing this podcast. That they should really separate the two. So
yeah, without the modules, I would have never touched power play ever. Well,
or maybe the modules that are presented should have been more inconsequential. Like lancing, whatever those lancing.
The mining lance.
Mining lances. Yeah.
That's my last power play module. I get it next Thursday.
It's a cute bonus, but it's not gonna send the power play into a tailspin.
Right. And to be clear, all of this we're talking about with the elections and possibly new power play module stuff. This is all just fantasy because it's not going to happen. At least not anytime soon.
You don't think a new power play module comes out of this? I have trouble imagining the scenario where they make the story go all the way through the election and it doesn't involve Mahon's opponent becoming important for some reason.
Nakato Kane.
You're assuming Mahon loses.
No, not necessarily. I'm assuming that his opponent becomes important somehow. Like, I'm not saying that Mahon has to lose for that to happen.
I think that would be interesting. I just don't have a lot of hope that that's actually where this is headed.
Also not a stretch to think that we wouldn't just get a whole other new power play person. I mean, they've done that before, so.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm not holding my breath for that either.
I'm not either, to be honest with you. And as
I feel
far
like
as
that's what everybody's assuming. Whether it happens or not, I mean.
As far as I see him going a different route, like crime bosses or something, with us being in stations and stuff, crime syndicates, and that would be like a new, darker power play kind of thing you could
that would be interesting
mess around with.
That would fit in a little bit better with the EDRPG a little bit too, and with on foot too. So,
it does seem like it should have something to do with on foot. Like any theory that ties in with, and this would work with our newfound aspect of the game. That puts it high on my list of definitely possible kind of thing.
The biggest thing there you have to remember is that they're also trying to sell this expansion because they want to make money off of it. So to make things that would tie better in with that just makes a lot more sense. So.
Right, adding additions to the game that have nothing to do with the major thing that has changed about the game, less interesting.
I always just think about new players joining this game. It's already so complicated, and they're tacking on basically an entire new game on top of it. This game is just, the complexity is just getting, that learning curve's just going up.
Well, that's kind of why I thought a new power play leader hardly matters. That's actually not a big deal because, like, how many are there right now? Like, what's one more?
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't.
If there's 12 and there becomes 13, that doesn't change the learning curve for a new player, does it?
Well,
there's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm making assumptions, but
no,
I don't really think that it. I agree that it's most likely to have a new power play leader if it has something to do with on foot. I was really like wild speculation and just going, I don't know, I have no idea until.
And honestly, adding another power play in the current thing, they could double the number of power play leaders. It doesn't increase the complexity because you already know how to do power play. Once you learn it, it doesn't matter if there's one or there's 100. All it does is adds more grinding. It doesn't add any complexity.
Sure.
What if they just took it out? Like they took out that component. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a big believer power play is one of the most broken systems in the game.
Yeah.
And it's been broken for a while. And I really feel like it's something that require minimal effort to tweak and fix because it's just numbers. All they really got to do is just fix numbers.
Every time they try to fix just numbers, shit gets crazy.
Well, but you kind of see what I'm driving at, though, is that they, effectively, you just turn the knobs and then shit gets fixed.
Yeah, because but try to change the price of something and Jesus, all kinds of stuff. If they remove an entire game loop, I don't know what that would do to the game.
I don't know either, but I also know that right now in the state the power play is, I haven't really played in a while, but if it's in the same state it's been in for 5 years or however long the damn thing's been in the game, it's kind of broke. And the majority of people that I know that play power play are all pretty much saying, yeah, it's kind of broke because you have to do these things. And, the modules are tied to it, which is a great big thing. It's not a big deal for like casual players or people who don't really play power play, but for the people who are really focused on it and that's like their thing. And like, they're all behind Aisling Duval. Is that her name? Yeah.
Yep, and
all of a sudden, once a week, once a month, you get this huge boost, and then, you get all these points or whatever that you can spend, and then the next month, you spend the next 3 weeks working your ass off trying to get back up there, just trying to maintain what you got that you didn't even really try to get. And I
really hadn't ever considered it from the perspective of a power play player because I've only ever done it for modules. So that's interesting.
And here's the thing, like I would say probably 70-80% of the player base just does it for the modules. I doubt very seriously there's that many players who are like, I'm pledged to this person and will stay pledged to this person because that's who I'm dedicated to.
I've never met one.
They're out there.
Yeah, they're out there.
Just not a lot of them.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think it's a stretch for them to take that component out of the game. I really don't. Because I feel like it's a broke-ass system.
Yeah, but you're the same guy who said they should just take CQC out of the game. So,
and then they fix it.
I'm all for integration.
Okay, but as much as you can say, like they should take it out of the game because the people who really care about it are inconvenienced by what's wrong with it. Those people are still playing it though. So if you took it out of the game, that would be the only thing worse than what they have now.
Well,
right?
What I'm curious though is I see what you're driving at, but what I'm curious though, would that, like, if they made it to where power play was gone tomorrow, does that mean these people are going to be like, well, I got no reason to play now? No, because behind that power play is a player faction that they've been playing anyway. So, because there's kind of two levels to it, and I guarantee you they would just focus more on their faction. They wouldn't lose nothing, and they wouldn't have this really weird thing that's out there that is kind of hard to fix, but then it's also not really hard to fix because they're making it more difficult than what it should be.
I always stand by, I don't want them to ever take anything out of the game. I mean, even if just one player is playing it because it's so freaking broke, and as long as somebody's having fun in it and it's already in the game, as long as it's not breaking anything else, I don't like the idea of taking anything out.
See, I think it does break other things. And the reason why I think it breaks other things is because the people who are really focused on power play, that affects people who are really focused on the BGS and their player faction, because the two are linked, but they're not exclusive. So
yeah, but
they don't play well together.
That adds an element to it, though, because you got to kind of take that into account. Like some of the traffic we deal with some of our systems, we know it's because of power play, and it keeps, instead of, direct player factions we might be dealing with, all of a sudden we're dealing with other players that are playing something else in the game, and it just makes the galaxy feel more alive instead of static.
And it's a way that we can kind of feel like we're interacting with these big people that you see in the Galnet articles too.
It would also be kind of cool if they made it to where they went the other way. They made it to where the things you did had more of an impact. And off the top of my head, I don't know what that is, but maybe shut down stations or stuff or something,
Or is it possible to integrate it with BGS?
Well, it already kind of did a half measure like they do everything else in this game. So
burn.
They'd have to go in and do a full measure.
Just remove the Corvette from the game because it's too good.
What? Oh my god.
That's easier.
Can I still kick people? I think I can still kick people. Let me see.
Oh, you still own the server, brother.
Oh boy. What did I do?
I can do a lot, but I can't adjust anyone's privileges above my own. Okay, so in all seriousness though, like removing,
we're going to talk about power play. I mean, you made a good point.
Separating the modules.
Yeah, because it would eliminate any reason for anybody who's not interested in playing that in getting involved at all. And if you were strictly a power play player, then sky's the limit. Still boring, but you could play it.
I don't know. I think it would fix a lot of problems. I don't think it would fix everything though. And I think the second step is you have to. I don't know how you do it, but I think you're gonna have to separate player faction and power play. I think they need to be two separate things. Or
aren't they?
They are.
They are two separate things,
but they interact so much.
Exactly.
They occupy the same space, but I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it either. It doesn't bother me. But as a power play player, I know that there's a lot of complaints based around that. So I think it was the other podcast. What's their name? I can't think of it right now. I'm tired. Lave Radio about 2 years ago met with representative of all the great big power play factions. Like there's groups that play like all the power plays, and they focus
that's
on
their
that.
thing.
That's their thing. And they had a great big panel of them on there. And there were two big things that they wanted to change. Number one was the separation of the modules. Number two was either make it to where a power play can only be affected in open, and you had to play it in open, or two, make it to where player faction and power play were separated. And there was a lot of reasons behind that, because you end up with a bunch of different player factions that are affecting a bunch of different things that have nothing to do with power play. And I completely get it, and I didn't understand it until I listened to that podcast. It was a very good episode, and I'm not trying to do the whole name drop thing or anything like that because I have other issues with them right now, but that's a different story. So,
well, okay, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like this is a topic that I'm not versed in, right? What's the point of what these people actually want to get out of power play, and what screws it up? The argument about like open only comes around a lot and has vehement opposition as well as support. And the thing is, like, I would offer an opinion, except that I don't really play power play, so I probably shouldn't care that much. And people do get upset about the idea that they would be forced into open. So wild.
Yeah, the open versus. So BGS and power play should only, well, at least if you're an open, should count more. There should be some kind of penalty because the fact that you can just, the fact that you can just be solo and just tank somebody's BGS or power play stuff, and there's nothing they can do about it. That drives me nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, Nurgle, because I feel like I've heard you arguing a lot that, or it has been my impression that you definitely did not want to have to engage in PvP for any reason. If you didn't want to.
Well, my position always has been and will remain that PvP should always be a consensual. You should always be the only person who dictates whether or not you participate in PvP. That being said, BGS, power play, conflict zones, anarchy systems, it's perfectly fine in my mind for those to be designated PvP zones. You know ahead of time that if you're going to participate in this activity, you're opening yourself up to PvP. And I'm absolutely fine with that because then it's still the player's choice. And
that counts as signing up.
Yeah, that's you're opting in. And then if somebody like me, who on the night when we're doing the podcast, I'm in a closed group because I'm not watching my screen most of the time. I don't want to be ganked while I'm mining an asteroid or something. I still have the option to do that. Or if I come home from work and I just want to go mine an asteroid, I have the option to do it in private and not have to deal with other players. But if I want to do BGS or power play or join a bunch of the squadron in a conflict zone, that's open world. And there are other players there, and it is what it is. I'm perfectly fine with that.
It does take some of the dangerous out of Elite Dangerous, though. I think that's their argument, isn't it?
It's a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean, we're getting really down the rabbit hole here, and I don't mean to, but it's a pretty good argument to say that a big if you rewind back all the way back to the original beta, there was going to be nothing but open. That was the only option. And then at some point they added a solo offline option, and they took off the offline option. It's just a solo only. And then at some point they added in groups, and there was some talk there for a little bit of them making it to where power play had its own group. Like if you wanted to do anything in power play, you had to go into the group, which was going to be full blown PvP, whatever you wanted to do, kind of thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of going the other way. So
yeah.
And the interesting thing is that you can play this game without ever bumping into everybody, but there's so many choke points, whether it's some sort of triple hotspot or Shinra to Desra, you can play the game without going to those. It just makes it slightly more difficult.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of hotspots like that, these places that are genuinely dangerous, because then, as Nurgle, likes to say, places where there's danger, you can avoid it if you choose not to go there. But if you choose to go there, you need to know that it's dangerous. The fact that you can, I don't know, areas
it's
like Desiat, though, that drives me nuts because the engineers are the biggest just trap in this game, because you're usually going there to engineer a ship, and you got people in fully engineered ships waiting to kill you. It's just nasty. So I understand why people
low hanging fruit is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I get a thrill doing it now, but I've played so much and have so many hours that, I find that fun, but I know why, it's just getting murdered and you have no chance, and especially if you're newer at the game, they might not even realize that the hollow, triangle is another player. They just, some people are so new at that first engineer or second engineer that, they don't even realize what's happening to them. So that I wish that there was, adding, actually high security meaning something would be the only way to really fix that, I guess.
Yeah. I had an interesting interaction the other night where I was doing BGS combat, and I forget the name of the system, but I ran into some guy who just happened to be fighting for the other side, and we had a go at it. Yeah. And he eventually tapped out, and I politely let him go. And then because I was kind of spent, I basically followed him back to the station and reloaded. And I noticed he got in his cutter, and I said, "All right, man, let's do it." And then we went out and for an hour threw down, and he eventually tapped out again. And, we got each other's info, and it was a really weird experience because he said it was his home station or his home system. And he was wondering why there was wars all the time. It's because 4 player factions are going to war at all times in his home station. I was like, well, I got a spot for you if you want to get in on it.
Come on down.
Some of the funnest times I've had in this game are running into random people in conflict zones. It just doesn't happen often enough. It's just so few and far between. But when all of a sudden you see that hollow square on the other side of a conflict zone, it's like, ooh, that's a real player. You get a real thrill out of it.
Yeah, but I suppose it doesn't fly in the face of either one of your theories, because I did go into a combat zone and run into another person, so I should have been okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it sounds like you were okay with it.
Well, I was okay because I won. I'm trying to.
So what you have to do, you have to kind of flip the script a little bit. You got to think about it from his point of view. Was he having a fun night that night?
He was having a fun night, and we were very cordial. But he did open fire first, so because I figured, I don't know, I'm just a nice person, I suppose.
Assumption of risk.
So I'm going to tell you guys a story. I'm about to have to get out of here, but I'm going to tell the story real quick. So I remember back when we were fighting the war for Ross 310 when we first got it, and I'm in the combat zone by myself, and I'm sitting there, and here in a minute I see an empty square. I'm like, all right, and here in a minute, a few minutes later, I see an empty triangle, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So I waited, and then he fired on me, and then I just destroyed him. He was in I believe an assault ship, which it felt, the way I destroyed it, it felt unengineered. I'm not trying to stroke my ego or nothing here. Don't misunderstand me. So, but we went around 2 or 3 times, and he kept coming back, and I kept clearing out the combat zones. And then coming to find out, he was in like a faction or something that Ross 310 was their home. And I think
we cleared somebody out.
Well, I think we ended up getting them in the group.
I haven't run into them since I first talked to them.
Okay, so they just left then. Okay.
Yeah.
They ran them hell out. Got it. Okay.
Jesus.
But yeah, for a while there, they were actually, considering fighting us in the war, and they quickly learned that you're not going to beat us. We have the overwhelming numbers, and that was kind of interesting, to be honest with you. But I think I often wonder, did I ruin his night? Did I make it to where he had a bad night because of me just completely decimating his ship? And I don't know. Right. I'm a big believer that if you're going to PvP, it should be something that you click on and you choose. And I don't know what
I just find that the interdiction, when you're the kind of ass that hangs around a triple hotspot, everybody's in their type 9s or whatever. Like, what? Is there any thrill in that? Not for me.
Yeah, that's a yeah.
And I gave advice to a newer player recently. I don't go in solo at all unless basically that if I'm in some sort of triple hotspot and I don't want to waste 3 hours of my time.
Right.
Or you're in, the community goal systems become these choke points, right? And I will try desperately to do that in open. And like when there's been a cargo one, I run it in open, and then kind of I let the first time somebody actually gets me and blows me up, and then it's like, okay, I guess I've done the thing. Now I'll go into my private group or whatever and sort of finish out what I wanted to do here, but I've done it. Or when they've been combat ones and they're related to conflict zones, I couldn't stay in open because I couldn't get the conflict zones to respawn. The players wouldn't leave, and I don't know if that was a tactic to sort of intentionally hold it open or not, but it was
you don't
like
have to bounce out and fly to the same one. You just go to a different one, I suppose.
Yeah, but there's only so many. That's the thing.
Yeah, one of them that was actually bounty hunting, but the only thing we had was installation scenarios. That was a couple months ago or whatever. That one got tough, and I ended up having to go into private groups sometimes, not because I was getting PvP'd, but because I couldn't get the instances to work correctly because it was like complicating it with players coming in and out all the time.
That was the other thing I was going to say is that sometimes those community goals cause the servers to have a meltdown.
Yeah.
Well, the game has instancing issues. I mean, the game has some serious instancing issues. We've all experienced them.
Yeah, that's my biggest hope. Is
wait, what?
This is news to me.
Well,
on PlayStation, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, we were running a big Thargoid hunting party last night, and for whatever reason, one of us would always be kicked out at random with, the most random error codes that I've not even seen. You got the purple python and the blue cobra and the orange sidewinder. I was like, geez Louise, we kept trading off.
Oh, we know about orange.
Sounds like a breakfast cereal.
Indeed.
Anyway, it's a great game.
It's a fabulous game, and everyone should play it.
Yeah. I feel I just need to throw in a little positive reinforcement in the middle of all the.
Well, you got the negative nanny, and I'm the negative nanny.
That's the funny thing is every one of us has some sort of complaint, and once you open the window,
true.
But have at it. But I love it.
Yeah.
In spite of it all.
Yeah, but they need to get it fixed. If they really think that Odyssey is going to have, ships flying air cover for SRVs and people on foot, they need to fix the instancing.
I'm so hopeful that they have, and I know I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm so hopeful that they have.
I was going to say, Ty, have you been following the news on all this? Like, having not talked to you on a regular basis anymore, have you been keeping up with things related to Odyssey and stuff?
Man, with everything that happened and why I bailed out for a little while there, I completely disconnected from Elite for up until basically about 2 weeks ago, and I'm still not completely reconnected, but I'm trying to catch up. But yeah, I didn't read news. I didn't read anything. I removed it off my Steam wish list. I didn't do anything. I had no desire to log in. I think I logged in a couple times to, I don't know, like approve somebody in the clan or something like that because it was something. I didn't get on Discord. Nothing. So anyway.
Well, the related to sort of like talking about instancing and stuff like that, the announcement has been, and now they've repeated it a few times because for some reason people keep asking the same questions in the AMA. So that's interesting that they're even answering those still. But they've said several times that the situation is still going to remain the same as far as how the game is organized. It is a sort of a P2P networking situation with a server that maintains the galaxy in the background. So, there hasn't been any direct comment about like, but we're fixing things. It just comments that like the experience will remain seamless, so it's not going to like change to a server side function or something to that effect. So go ahead.
They can't change that architecture. I mean, that's baked into the core of the game.
Right. So this kind of is falling.
We hope.
You're right. It's falling to this idea of like a code base refresh, and with that affect instancing. And I don't think they've like explicitly said we're not paying attention to that. I mean, they're focusing so much on this like kind of vertical sphere of combat business, SRV shipping on foot, all in the same instance. And it would be such a horrible shame for it to not work better than it works now, because it does seem like it's necessary, right? How could the game even function if you're going to add this layer of granularity of being able to zoom in and look at somebody's hand kind of thing, and not have kind of a better networking situation? I'm thinking back to when we played the SRV ball and how weird with everybody's computer fighting over who was in charge of where the orb was at any given time, and it's like jumping around at like 1 frame per 2 seconds. Right. We need a more a finer detail in positioning of objects in order to be able to move around on foot and shoot at one another. So it has to be that it's being improved, even if it's remaining P2P, right? Right?
I'm a big believer that they're probably going to change, because there's a couple of easy fixes they can do just off the top of my head from an IT point of view. Like if you lower the number of people that can be inside the instance, you're by default going to get better performance out of the instance itself. So I could see them doing something like that, and that's very little overhead. That's actually relieving the overhead on their end, so it would actually help them out a little bit. I believe that did we not read that there was a max people per instance at some point? Wasn't it like 64 people or something like that?
I'd be surprised if it's that big.
Yeah. But we have a hard time getting 4.
I know.
So
I know. Well, on another side note here, I'm about to have to step out. So I appreciate number one, I want to thank you guys for keeping this going. I really thought when I stepped away from it, it was just going to be the end of it. So I'm completely amazed you guys kept it going, and I want to thank you guys for that very much. And the second thing is I'm probably going to be jumping in and out a little bit. I'm still not ready to be 100% back yet, but I'm getting there. So,
all right.
But anyway.
Well, as I tell all these clowns, turn up on podcast night if you want to. that's kind of how I would like it to be. I'd like it to be a low-ish pressure thing, and that way, I have this dream where we can all just like turn up on a Thursday, and whoever's here will record a podcast. And so far, that's been working out okay. So, consider that the way it is. If you're asking me,
he berates us if we don't show up.
Yeah.
He sends me hateful text messages.
The floggings will continue until morale improves.
You guys are really, you're all together on this, huh? Like I'm a very, very bad person.
He beats us.
If you're watching on the premium subscriber live stream, you'll see us blinking in Morse code.
Send help.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. It was really fun to have you on the show again. And I won't lie and say that people ask if and when you're coming back on the regular. So, consider this, anytime you want to.
I appreciate that, man.
I shouldn't be the one having to give you that permission. So anyway.
Yeah, anytime you want to come back, throw me off the show and take my regular spot, you got it.
Yeah. And this is how Chig became the main host.
Thanks, Ty.
Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later on. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
I know.
That was a nice treat.
And like that, he was gone.
We're so
fades
sad.
away, as if he was a dream the whole time. There's room in the show for some Chig Chat. There was a couple of other things I was going to mention. Opinions, everybody. What do you want to tackle?
I'll quickly add in something for the terrible, awful PlayStation people. As established, where all the crap
for the monsters. Yep, go on.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of new additions to the PlayStation Squadron, which is great, but they're all fairly new players, and I appreciate all of you. If you're looking to make a little scratch and see the sights, I can't recommend jumping into the expedition enough. So if you're hearing this and you're interested, hit me up on PSN, and I'll give you even if you really don't have that much money, I'll give you a unengineered Diamondback Explorer build that can handle it quite easily.
Yeah.
And
with carriers going out, the carriers are all cross-platform. So anybody, regardless if there's PlayStation carriers or not, you guys can come out with us with help.
And we'll have a list of carriers on the Discord that are with the squadron if you want to search for individual carriers.
And if you're worried that, someone said, oh, you don't have a frameshift drive booster or whatever, I made a trip to Sagittarius A and then Colonia and then back home in an unengineered, unboosted Diamondback Explorer. So you can do it.
Yeah, this stuff didn't always exist in the game, so people could...
He hated himself by the end. But
yes, that's also true. But you know what was the best was I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the best part was cashing in that Road to Riches money at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the best possible outcome, especially for a new player.
Right. Yeah. It's a good thing for a new player to get into because the cost to entry is actually really low compared to a lot of other kind of aspects of the game, and you will come away from it with an experience and a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, filthy.
Yeah, I'll say that you won't, and I'll give you a little advice that I learned, that I figured out on my own. Instead of buying the ship that you've dreamed about with that money that you make, buy a ship that you can earn money with consistently.
Yes.
Because you can't just buy, I'm going to get a Corvette. And then you realize that the bulkheads are $500 million.
That's right.
Anyway, I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've seen a few of them. I'm guessing they're new PS4 commanders, Bailey Levi and I think Suicide Santa, and
they're
maybe Invoice a lot, and they've been palling around fleet carriers with Manitouk and Crash, and seems like they're having fun.
Yeah, as I understand, they are Manitouk politely gave them a lift out to the crystal planets to get raw materials, but they're so new they didn't realize, and this is what I told them before we recorded on the show, that there's also something called manufactured materials and encoded. And I really let the air out of their balloon.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the grinds. Yep.
Yeah.
On the plus side, though, the crystal shards will give you everything you need for the expedition, though, because you got your that's where you get your jumponium components. So
right.
Which
raw mats
technically SRV fuel and hull and stuff like that.
You go to your...
Yep. So if they thought the raw mat was fun, just wait till they need them pharmaceutical isolators.
And jumponium is, if you go to your right-hand panel inventory synthesis, your FSD injection, you can premium synthesize a bonus to your jump distance for one jump.
Yeah.
It's going to do you some good. That DBX was going to go very far with that. It'll save your ass.
Indeed.
So, Chig, did you want to throw out a Chig Chat this week?
Sure, hit it.
All right. God, I didn't know you were going to say that so quickly. Hold on here.
It's Chig Chat. Yeah, that's a fact. It's Chig Chat. Where the cheese at?
Outstanding. I had a couple different ideas I was going to do today, especially after Ty showed up, but then Ty took off. So I'm going to go back to the other the other concept I had because of what we were just talking about. I was looking for by this time next week, a bunch of us are going to be pretty far out in the black a couple days in. So
yeah.
And if everybody's, heading out at the same time and stuff, this would be the last chance to ask for any tips or tricks or anything for, deep space exploration. We've got, especially hearing about how many newer players are going to come along. If you're a newer player, don't cone jet boost off a white dwarf. It's not worth it. It's just you can try neutrons, but try it in the bubble before you go. You don't want to lose all your exploration data because a white dwarf raped you right in the pie hole.
Yeah.
Metaphor.
And as Steve Luder was saying, you can definitely do a trip. People will be bragging about their 70 light year jump, 65 light years, things like that. You can go out, especially. I don't think any of this goes out near the edge of the galaxy or anything, does it? It's all towards the core. For
nothing to do with waypoints. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I think we cross one gap between the galactic arms diagonally, and that can be a bit hellish.
That's what I was going to say. As far as jump range on your ship, that the only time that jump range really helps a bigger jump range is A, if you want to get someplace faster, and B, if you're dealing with like crossing between the arms, or you're out at the very extreme edges above or below the plane, or way out, out by Beagle Point. At that point,
where the star systems are separated.
Exactly.
There's more distance between them.
You're forced to use jumponium and manually plot because the in-game plotter gets confused when you get out there. But heading towards the center, you can use, damn near any jump range. It's just going to take you longer. And a lot of people think that, a shorter jump range ship, you'll discover more because other people are jumping over those points. That's a complete myth. It makes no sense. But the only thing that dictates finding more systems or not, other than getting off the beaten path, but there aren't that many non-beaten paths anymore, is the number of jumps you're doing. It's just the sheer number. So using a lower jump range ship, yes, you will be doing more jumps. So mathematically, you may run into more systems. So just keep that in mind. If you want to jump shorter distances to hit more systems, you can always hit economical in your thing, and you can do a gazillion more jumps, or you can explore just all randomly jumping all over instead of plotting a course directly to the next jump point. Just plot 5 to 10 jumps at a time, kind of zigzagging your way out to where you're going, and you're gonna you're not gonna be on some common path that everybody else is traveling on.
It's not. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention it is not wholly impossible if you're in a ship with a low jump range. I mean, Distance Cruise 1, I had a couple guys on my crew who did it, and they were brothers. They did it in Cobras, so we dubbed them the Cobra Brothers. They went against my wishes, of course. I was like, "You guys are idiots! What are you doing?"
I'm taking a Cobra this time.
You're an idiot too.
I got it up to 46 light years, fully loaded with guns.
Theirs was unengineered and didn't even have D-rated parts.
Oh, oofed.
Woof.
They were pretty close to stock, but they seemed to have a good time, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. I would have boosted into a.
They didn't know any better.
Yeah, I picked a Cobra out for the fun of it. Last time I took an Anaconda, and about halfway through, really, really wished I'd taken a Crate Phantom instead. But this time I decided, let's go with the classic elite ship, right? And so I kitted out a Cobra for exploration, and not min-maxed as far as jump range is concerned. It does about 46 even, fully laden, and it's got repairs, it's got AMFU, it's got an SRV bay, and guns.
That's more than what you need. You don't even need.
It's got like, in fact, it's got something on the order of like 600 DPS.
Wow.
Because
that's why I'm bringing my carrier this time, is so I can just bring everything. Fuck it.
We have some sort of consensual PvP planned out in Colonia, fighting exploration ships, at least between Lark Shadow and myself, because he likes to run his mouth about how the Viper 4 is the best ship in the game, and so he wants to do his exploration in the Viper 4, and I think I can beat his Viper in my Cobra.
I'd love to hear his
exploration Cobra.
Look forward to it.
Viper 4 is a very nice ship. That military slot is what's killing it for making it hold up to the Cobra as far as exploration is concerned. But anyway,
carrying on.
So all I'm saying is, come in. Any exploration tips that you guys have. I don't know if you guys have anything here specifically you'd like to bring up, but we hear most of us are pretty experienced at this, but I always love to hear something that I haven't heard before if somebody's got a tip, whether it's, even apps we're using, most of us are running, EDMC or ED Discovery, things like that. We should get some of that stuff on the Discord listed in the events channel, probably, because we're going to be going on this adventure. So people looking, we've had a lot of new people join the Discord just specifically for this event. So if we start compiling some tips and stuff just to help people out, and I'm always looking for something new also.
I'll give one more last free tip to the new people. Some people like to end a shift of jumping by landing on a planet. Be mindful of the gravity.
Yes.
If it gets up above, I don't know, pick a number.
Half a G.
Yeah. It matters.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah.
I'll throw an app out, since you mentioned apps. The ED Scout is one that's sort of a maybe a sidestep or a replacement of ED Discovery. But the specific thing that this one I know will do very easily is, when you plot a route out to your next waypoint, it will have a sort of an easy color-coded way of estimating whether each system along the route has been discovered already. So as far as for picking out which systems along your route are as yet undiscovered systems, it doesn't always get it exactly right, but as long as it's scanning EDSM for them. So if somebody's reported it already, it's not going to work if it might report a system as undiscovered, but it's really just not reported yet, and then the person could end up reporting it before you. So not 100%, but anyway.
Oh, yeah. So one last question. I thought there were several. You're saying there.
Sorry, I'm losing your mic there.
Oh, kick it up. I was saying I thought there were more waypoints. Are you saying that there's not many waypoints?
Oh, well, let
15.
me call up the page.
There's 16, and then the 17th is qama, the end point.
I see.
Right,
so I'll say this: if you're using EDSM with Distance Cruise 1, I found it to be a little finicky. Just make sure you know that you're physically, when you get to one of the waypoints, just check to make sure you're really there in the game. Because I had to back.
Right. Now that's probably a console thing, because with a console you can't be running an app that's reporting to EDSM directly. You're kind of relying on EDSM to be pulling from the Frontier auth server, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. Cool. So a couple more things I had on the notes. The Hutton Orbital Muggy Awards happened today. I did not get a chance to watch them, but it's it was streamed on Twitch, and they give awards for things. They make it a whole thing with golden statues and everything. It's quite a production. So check it out. It's fun. They do it just like it's going to be the Grammys or something. It's really pretty cool. I turned it on for like a second to see what it was like because I had never watched it before in previous years.
What are some of the categories?
The one that was on when I happened to click it on for a second between tasks at work. It was Bounty Hunter of the Year, I think, and they had nominated 4 commanders, and so anyway, yeah.
If Luigi Dushku doesn't win that, then it's rigged.
Amen, brother.
Check CPC pilot.
So the last thing I threw on the notes is this new story thing that's coming from Drew Wagar. So Drew Wagar has written up a new story that is, I guess, semi-influenceable. It's going to be sort of a live performed story in game called Retribution. So I've put the link in the show notes to the YouTube page where there is a further link to an FAQ that goes over some details. But starting on Thursday the 14th, so this will actually be the next podcast night for us. He'll be running on that same day. I think he goes at between like 8 and 10 p.m. UK time. But the idea here is that this is a story including characters. The characters are real commanders in the game that are accounts that he is in control of and has a small staff of people that are helping him create and tell this story. It's going to be live streamed on Twitch, and a lot of it is going to be this character proceeding through the galaxy, and there are some key story points. Some of it will be influenceable by however it goes down. So some of it is going to be kind of like happening in real time and a little, I don't know if I should say choose your own adventure ish, but there will be things that can happen that can change the outcome. It's happening in his own private group for a number of reasons that can be answered on this FAQ, and plans to run about 8 weeks. Frontier is not directly involved, but it's just something he created within the game and within this galaxy. So
just keep an eye on Harry Potter.
Well, see, that's the thing is like he's got control of this private group where it's all going to be happening.
I see.
So I'm going to just try to skip to the question. Aspects of the story are created in advance. Some of it, there are significant points that are sort of planned, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to be that the player base can do in response to episodes. So he says, I may have to rewrite stuff on the fly between episodes based on what happens. Cool. And then in private group, so this is the quote, I cannot apply any narrative rules to open environment. By contrast, the private group is mine to manage. This story is not designed to establish canon or become official lore. It is not a part of the greater work and thus does not require open mode. It is for entertainment only, and the Drew Wagar private group will remain PvE only, strictly no PvP unless authorized though PvP may occur in a limited context at particular points, and these will be clearly signposted, and infringements to the rules will get you kicked out of the private group.
Side note, for unrelated reasons, that commander has been banned from playing in open.
Who, Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
My understanding was he didn't play this game very much anymore anyway. But anyway. Anyway, I thought that was pretty neat. I had just heard about that, and he has. If you click that link, there's a YouTube video, sort of a trailer for the whole thing, which frankly involves a lot of graphical assets from the game that I don't think actually exist in the game, and I wonder how he created them. Anyway, it's got some really choice music. in that video. That's I guess where I'll leave it. But it sounds like fun. I'll try to. I obviously, if it's happening on Thursdays, I'm not going to be able to watch in real time, I expect. Although actually, it's based on UK time. I'll probably end up being at work when it's happening in real time. But I'm going to try to catch up on the replays because I think this is sort of a fun thing to attempt, and I'm interested to see how it will come out and how narrative it can feel, because like he said, a lot of it is going to be like this character is going to start in the starting area of the game, and they will be doing missions and things like that as part of what takes place. Right. And they also will be persistent in the game in that private group, so they can be interacted with. They will be doing things between episodes sometimes. May or may not be to make up for whatever nonsense the other players do. But I'm very curious to see how this will all turn out. A?
You cut out there.
Yeah.
I cut out? Sorry.
Well, I think the threshold on your limiter is probably pretty sharp because you're cutting out a bit.
Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, I think I'm just curious. I'm interested to see how it all turns out. So I plan on paying attention to replays.
It'll be interesting to see when Odyssey comes out. His capacity for storytelling is going to expand quite a lot.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's all I have. Anything else, anyone?
This new community goal requires a lot of travel.
Oh, frick, yeah. There is a community goal that just opened today, delivering xeno tissue samples to Colonia. I kind of felt like this was aimed at commanders who play in Colonia to begin with.
Even
obviously don't have to, but
kind of. But the pods that you collect the samples from aren't the samples they want. Those pods are not close to Colonia either, from what I'm reading.
Oh, really?
Online. Yeah. Yeah, like several thousand light years from Colonia is the nearest of these. Any of these types of pods you can sample.
At least what's cataloged, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's new and different.
Yeah.
I guess.
And they're going to establish experimental habitats to see if they can grow these creatures, inside.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. They'll spawn I
saw that movie. It's called Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and frankly, it's a massive franchise at this point, so clearly they did something right. Cool, yeah, we did. I skipped right over that. Fun. Great job.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Science.
That community goal is up. How long does it run? I actually
Just a week. Just a week.
Just a week? Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I thought when I saw traveling to Colonia, I thought for sure it was going to be like at least 2 weeks.
In theory, we could leave on Tuesday and still make it there with enough time to go find some samples and turn them in.
Oof.
I did not put a research limpet on my exploration ship, and I sort of don't plan to.
Dubs was just super happy that they didn't have a module tied to this one.
Yeah, I know, because I didn't have to do it.
Going out there, yeah.
Get a decal of varying shininess, depending on what level you finish at. So far,
really?
they're
Differing decals?
same decal, different colors.
Oh, weird.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is that the tiers of completeness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's your
I get you.
tier. It's your personal tier, yeah.
Oh, your personal tier. Oh, okay.
I
So
so
far,
don't care about decals.
The total cap on samples is 500,000. So far, 28 have been delivered.
Well, it did just start today. I don't know. Probably nothing will come of this. That's fun though, and I do think that there's kind of this idea that nothing ever like there's commanders that spend their game time in Colonia all the time. They kind of like being out there, and nothing ever happens that involves them. And here's something that involves.
Was there any salt
Colonia
from
commanders.
people in the bubble about this one? involving so much travel, or were people cool with it?
I'm just, what I've seen, the little bit I've looked, is more people from Colonia are like, it's still really far from Colonia, but so
got it.
Not too much salt that I've seen, but I'm sure it's out.
It is only a decal. I mean, if it had been a module, there would have been some rage.
Right on.
For sure. And on the other hand, I've also heard the sentiment from, I guess this is going back to kind of the inception of Colonia and before factions ever made it out there, that Colonia was sort of this prized place that FDev did not have their hands on the steering wheel of. So kind of adding story that involves Colonia is a little bit of a step in that direction, but I think that horse has left the barn. You know, there are factions and stuff out there now, and whatever salt is long been in that wound, so maybe they don't care.
And to find these biological organisms, you go to your Codex, that little book that I hardly ever looked at for a long time in your right-hand panel. You can go to the discoveries within that and click on your galactic sector you're in and go to the biologicals. And you're looking for pods. Something with pod in the name. There's different species. And you take
Dead pod is one of them.
Those are the samples you collect, but like the species are like colored pods, octahedral pods. Just look them up on the forums. People know which ones you can sample. Take your research limpet controller out there. Collect your limpet if you want to, and that's how you gather the sample. And you don't need to collect your limpets. I think the research controller returns it to you.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, pretty sure.
I have never used a research limpet. Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
And I call myself a commander.
I went out to a site close to the bubble with a one not too long ago, and he showed me how to do it. It's fun, something different. It's weird.
Cool.
It's weird and different.
Now you can teach the rest of us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. That feels like a good episode.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back,
Should
everybody.
We cheese it out?
We should. Let's
Happy
do
New
it.
Year.
For episode 69. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Wait, I have 70 in the notes because technically the last one didn't go out on the podcast
did you count the
feed.
stream? Yeah, you never put that out as a podcast. This would be number 69 on the podcast servers.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, what's cheese number 69?
You'd think it would be something like themed to that, but I wouldn't even know where to begin, and that sounds really gross, actually. So let's go with Gruyere cheese.
Brown cheese.
A really gross cheese. Well done.
No, it's a Swiss cheese. It's a really, really good cheese. Gruyere, good stuff. Have some of that. Stay cheesy, everybody. Yeah.
Gruyere is fabulous. Wait, didn't you do? I thought you already used Gruyere.
I
Fraud.
don't believe so.
I
do not see it on the list.
Okay, all right. No, I trust you. You're keeping a list, not me.
He's got the whole cheese calendar above the computer.
Yeah, is your cheese advent calendar on time, not early? Or?
No, I miss having the advent calendar. That was great to have a different cheese every day. But hey, I did feel kind of ripped off though, because it was 24 days or whatever of cheeses that you're opening up, but it was a repeat. There was a ton of repeat cheeses. Yeah, it was like,
how was that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know, but
bummer.
It is okay.
Are there more than 365?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've had at least 6.
I've had 6 a day. Do we want a cheese joke?
Yes.
The problem is I don't remember which cheeses I've done, or which cheese jokes I've done. That's not good.
We can hear it twice. A cheesy joke can be told many times.
Did I do what did the ball of mozzarella say as it was shredded? I'm falling to pizzas.
I love these.
Excuse me, I'm going to go kill myself.
Take me with you.
All right. Love you guys. Good
All
show.
right. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining me. This was really fun and a discussion I did not expect that was really awesome. Find us on Discord. The link is in the show notes. You can go to loosescrewsed.com where you'll find links to various things. Like if you couldn't find them in the show notes, you could find them there, as well as a merch store where you can get things like mugs and hoodies that have Loose Screws written on them. Yeah, that's about the size of it. We'll see you on Tuesday, hopefully, for the start of the expedition. And we'll hear you again on Thursday for another podcast, which I guess we'll be doing from out in the black. Thanks. Fly loose and screwy. That's what I say.
Bye-bye.